In today's video, we're going to look at why Arri is the best digital camera brand on the market currently. We're going to look at their history of going from film into the digital space, as well as what makes Arri stand out against so many other camera brands. We'll also look at this camera specifically, the Arri Mini LF, what makes it so special, and we'll look at our specific camera build here at Selective Cinema. Let's get into it. All right, so if you've seen any major movie come out recently, it was probably shot on one of three brands: Red, Sony, or it was shot on an Arri, and it could have been shot on film or it could have been shot digitally, but Arri does both. Let's talk a little bit about Arri and why they are considered the best camera brand in the world. So Arri, back in the day, they had film cameras. Eventually, digital projection came along. And so you would have to scan film to make it digital. And they came out with their own, they had their own R&D. They developed their own technology for scanning film to be digital so they could project it digitally. They did a phenomenal job with color accuracy. So their color science was considered the best. Once camera brands started coming out with digital cameras, Arri had a huge advantage here. They started putting that technology, that R&D that they put into scanning digital film into their cameras, and that color science was really why everybody loved Arri. It just looked right. You ask Hollywood DPs and they would be like, yeah, this looks like film to me. And that was the Alexa. The Alexa camera came out. It was a huge success. And then a revolutionary camera came out called the Alexa Mini. So the Alexa was kind of a heavier camera. Lugging it around, putting it on rigs was kind of hard, so they came out with a mini version, and they had no idea. They thought, well, this will just be the mini version. It will work really well. It was a huge success. People started buying it more than the normal beefy boy Alexa because they could rig it up. They could put it on a steady cam. They could put it anywhere, and it was a lot easier to work with, and it still had the amazing color science. So these were Super 35 cameras. People started getting used to shooting full frame or larger format. That's where the Alexa LF came in. And the Alexa LF, I believe when it was released at the same time as this, the Mini LF. This was a huge pull. People love this camera. In fact, this is more popular than the Alexa LF because that limitation of weight, and you can't put an EF mount on the normal LF. 3 reasons why you would use an Arri camera, why you would use the Arri Mini LF. Number 1 would definitely be dynamic range. Its dynamic range is going to do better than any camera out there. Arri has released the Alexa 35, which is a Super 35 camera with the best dynamic range. So that's their newest camera out. The Mini LF, the Mini, these cameras, the LF, they're right behind it in which cameras have the best dynamic range. So Arri is dominating in that field. Color science. So all the cameras that Arri puts out, their color science, the fidelity of it is amazing. Extremely accurate. It's a beautiful color science. This is why people shoot on Arri. Roger Deakins, other DPs, they love Arri. 3rd reason why you would use an Arri product is reliability. So people, especially in the National Geographic world, they'll be in very cold or very hot climates, humid, that type of thing. The Arri just works. It's a tank. It gets through anything. Other camera brands, they're good. They have had some issues in those conditions, but this is going to be the best when it comes to reliability. You don't have to worry about, is the camera going to turn on? Is it going to, overheat? Is it going to be an issue with it just not loading or your footage being lost just due to some crazy situation? It's a reliable camera. Now, the reason you would choose the Arri Mini LF over, say, the Mini or the Alexa 35 would be for that large format sensor. So you still have a large format sensor. To give you an idea, so some of you have, the iPhone 15 or your newer phones. Your main camera sensor on the iPhone 15 would be about 8 millimeters to 6 millimeter size, 8x6. This sensor on the Mini LF is 36.5 millimeters wide, right around there, by 25.5 millimeters tall. Insanely big. And that allows the photo sites, the actual pixels, to have a pixel pitch that's huge. And that helps image fidelity. If you look this up, as far as low light, as far as what it can capture, it really is allowing the image to gather as much light as possible. Just looks really beautiful. Let's go over the build. This is exciting. This whole build can be stripped down to just the camera body. Let's say you're gonna throw it onto a Steadicam rig and you need it to be really light. If you were taking it all the way down to just the body, it would be about 6.5 pounds, which is amazing. You can put on pretty good size lens and still get on a rig that might only hold, say, 20 pounds. So now you have a lot of leeway, a lot of room to work with. With all of this on here, you're looking at something closer to 15 pounds, 16 pounds, somewhere around there. It can get heavy, but it can be stripped down. You can go more run and gun with it for sure. All right, so on the front, we have the EF mount, and I have a Leica 19mm lens on there. Super exciting. These lenses pair really well with the Arri Mini LF because they cover a very large image circle. What does that mean? These lenses won't be vignetting a ton. This is the widest lens, so if it was going to vignette, it would vignette the most with the widest lens. If you're doing open gate, you're just seeing a little bit of vignetting on the corners for this lens. Amazing. Then the rest of the lenses in the set, which this would be the 35, we got the 50, there's 24, 28. They all cover the image circle perfectly, so you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm gonna see vignetting on my image. Okay, so what comes with this kit? Well, you'll be pleased to know that the camera comes with a kit, and with that, you have your choice of EF mounts, LPL mount, and there's an adapter for PL mounts with the LPL mount. So you have a lot of choices there. You have the viewfinder, of course. You also have the cage, all the cage elements. If you need to strip this down, you have this little tool, 3mm. You can strip it all down. Very easy to do. Also, some other parts of the cage that you're not seeing here right now are the shoulder mounts. So this goes on the bottom very easily. If you've ever used one of these, they're fantastic. And also a dovetail, which is great to use if you need it on a beefier tripod and you just want to take it right off. This is the gold mount adapter on the back here to power the camera, and it comes with 4 gold mount batteries, and it also comes with 3 1TB cards and the card reader, which is USB-C or USB-C to USB-A. The camera, all the accessories, everything goes inside one Interspace flight case, and it is a pleasure to work with. You do not have to break down the viewfinder. You don't have to break down the adapter on the back. You don't have to break down the cage. You just place it in there. It's safe. It's good to go. All the accessories have their spots in the case. You don't have to be like, where do I stuff this? It's really easy to use. Super excited to have this camera at Selective Cinema. Going to be using it on some of our higher end film projects, commercial projects. Also just exciting to have it in the Pensacola area, available for rent. If you're a filmmaker, you already know how amazing this camera is. Even if you're not, I think you're going to love what you see out of it. You're certainly going to see a difference. But yeah, we're excited, and just keep your eyes out. We're going to be able to share some amazing frames from this camera.